Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ice Cold Takes podcast. I am your host, Joey DeMeglio, and I'd like to begin the show by congratulating Alex Ovechkin for tying the all-time goals record. Wayne Gretzky, 894. He just did it. Came a goal shy of a hat trick in the game against the Blackhawks. Really cool game in third period. I pushed the podcast back a half hour just so I could watch the end of that because I wanted to see if he would break the record. Gretzky's in the building. It was a home game for the Capitals. Everyone's going crazy. Good thing to see. It's good for the sport. I know he's a rival player, but I wanted to see him break it. It was pretty cool, but we have other things to talk about today. The Rangers, Gabe Perreault made his NHL debut on Wednesday, and also baseball talk. I'm going to try and do a little bit more baseball talk in the 2025 MLB season because Mets look like they're going to be a good team this year. So we'll start with the Rangers. Earlier this week, after being kicked out of the Frozen Four tournament, the NCAA tournament, Boston College, that's Gabe Perreault's team, after they got eliminated, about a day later, he signed his entry-level contract with the Rangers, and he made his NHL debut on Wednesday against the Minnesota Wild. And to be honest with you, I really didn't want him to sign his deal yet because I figured just with the way the Rangers have played their younger guys, their younger talent, they always start them off in the bottom six on like the third or the fourth line, playing with, you know, guys that don't really drive play, don't do much offensively, don't give him the best line mates. So I figure, why give him like 9 games, burn a year off his contract? What's the point of that if you're just gonna give him like 10 minutes a night, not even 10 minutes a night? It didn't seem to make much sense to me. I was very surprised to see that they went right away to Gabe Perreault in the top 6, and they kept Othman in the top 6 as well. So very, very surprised. They bumped Kreider down to the 4th line. Mika's on the 3rd line pretty much. Like, your top 2 centers are Miller and Trocheck. That's not bad. Ideally, I think on Stanley Cup winning teams, I think JT Miller is a perfect 2C and Vincent Trocheck is a perfect 3C, and that's on a Stanley Cup winning team. Zibanejad, I don't know where he is, but they moved very, very surprisingly. They moved guys around to accommodate Othman and Perreault. So that's a plus there. So I have no problem with that if that's how it's going to go. If he's going to play top 6 minutes from now until the end of the season, fine. That's fine. And if it was like an ultimatum where it's like Perreault won't play for the Rangers unless they sign him to the entry level deal, fine. Just let it go. It's only 1 year. You get to restricted free agency 1 year sooner. Not that big of a deal, but you have to compete in those 2 years. You have to make the most of it because it's a really low cap space, so a low cap hit. So if he performs, if he produces, then again, you got to take advantage of that. So solid debut for him, in my opinion. I mean, he was on the ice for a goal against, and he had a big part in that. I think Brock Faber shot the puck from the point, and Perreault got a stick on it, and it kind of pinballed in past Shesterkin. So an unfortunate play for him, but offensively he did not look out of place whatsoever. One prime example, I think this was on his second shift. He had this sweet pass to Lafreniere at the side of the net, and honestly, I do not care if the pass was deflected. The fact that it even got there, the fact he attacked the middle of the ice to set it up, pulled Zuccarello and all the other Minnesota defenders towards him, leaving a wide open Lafreniere. I mean, in the kid's first freaking game, unreal. Lafreniere's head was up his ass. I do not care if it was deflected. He looked totally 100% unprepared for that. I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt whatsoever. I don't care if he was out of position. I don't care if he wasn't ready for it. His feet, he was not in a shooting spot whatsoever. What's the point of going there if you're not gonna get ready for the shot? The side of the net. What are you just standing there to look good? That to me, I think Lafreniere's head was up his ass. Like so far up his ass that he could not see the play develop. The brilliant pass by Gabe Perreault there. So yeah, overall solid game for him. I thought Brennan Hoffman too. I thought he looked great. He looks better and better with each game. He still hasn't scored his first NHL goal yet, but he's getting closer. There was one chance that he had in the second period on Wednesday. I have no idea how the puck did not find the back of the net. I forget who passed it to him. It might have been Keandre Miller, but it was like a cross seam pass, and he's right at the side, like for a tap in, and the puck goes between the goalie Gustafson's legs, but doesn't go in the net. I don't know how he stopped it. Um, he can't buy a goal, but he's playing really, really well. This is a guy I want on the team next year. Like this is a guy I want to be kept around. Like all this talk about, you know, who the Rangers are, what their identity is, and who's going to be on the team next year, which guys, because the Rangers are bound to make some big changes this offseason. He's one of the guys I think has a future with the team, whether that's like a first line guy or a middle six guy. I think he's got a role here. This could be a serviceable player for the Rangers. And for right now, you take advantage of that cap hit. It's cheap right now. Um, so yeah, easy for me. He looks better and better with each game. That first goal is going to come soon. Uh, but the Rangers, as a team on Wednesday, much more promising of a game than what we've seen in previous weeks. You had that game in San Jose the day after they blew that lousy game, that terrible game to the Ducks, and the Rangers just completely dominated that game. I mean, they took care of business. That's how you're supposed to play against a team of that caliber. That's what I was expecting them to play when they played Anaheim, and it just didn't end up that way. That game carried over into the Sharks game, carried over into Wednesday night's game. But the problem is when it seemed like the Rangers had all the momentum, they just kept shooting themselves in the foot. They can't get out of their own way. Anytime they build anything positive, they just find a way to screw it up. And it goes back to what I was saying last week is how I summarized the Rangers is that the Rangers find ways to lose this season, whereas last year they found ways to win. It's the same concept here. The Rangers find ways to kill their momentum. And in a momentum-based sport like hockey, that's huge. The Rangers are in a position right now, they gotta run the table. They have 7 games left. They have to win. They have to go 6-1 pretty much. To comfortably make the playoffs, they have to go 6-1 or 5-1-1. I'm not confident that they could do that, and I'm not confident that anything less than that will get them in. Uh, you see, we've talked again and again about how these teams like Montreal, the Islanders, and the Blue Jackets and the Rangers, none of them seem to want to grab hold of that playoff spot. The Senators took hold of that first wild card spot, but none of those 4 teams that I just mentioned want to grab that second wild card spot. Well, if you look back this week, the Canadians again, they don't quit. Right? They're down against the Panthers late. They tie it with 8 seconds left, win it in overtime. Then they beat Boston. Right? Now they're starting to show up here. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm not comfortable with anything less than 5-1-1 for the Rangers and to them for them making the playoff spot. I understand they have the tiebreakers over Montreal and Columbus, but you got to win these games. You got to get all the points you can. Like it has to be 2 points. No more of the loser point here. This game against the Devils tomorrow, have to take it. Have to. And you can't win these games if you keep shooting yourself in the foot. Wednesday, 2 perfect examples. Rangers had a absolutely fantastic second period, right? They're out shooting, out chancing the Wild at 5-on-5. They get a power play when they're up 3-2. Vincent Trocheck makes a boneheaded decision. Instead of, dumping the puck or getting rid of it, passing it off, he holds on to it for way too long, gets stripped of it in the neutral zone, and the Wild come back and score a shorthanded goal to tie that game. Everything changed after that. In the first period too. I think this is another 3 examples actually. I think the Rangers started off that game shooting the puck. They had like maybe 7 or 8 shots on goal within like the first 10 minutes. Uh then Lafreniere takes a stupid unnecessary penalty and the Wild score off of that. That's another way of shooting yourself in the foot. That doesn't need to happen. It's a terrible play. Trocheck and Lafreniere starting that game off with their heads up their asses. Then in the third period, after Panarin, who looked great in that game, by the way, after Panarin gave them the lead towards the end of the second period, up 4-3, literally the exchange between Sam and Joe was Sam saying, "Joe, what do you look for the Rangers in the third period?" And Joe is basically saying, "Don't make mistakes." And 20 seconds into the third period, what happens? Keandre Miller coughs up the puck, and the Wild tie the game. And Sam goes, "What was that you were saying about not making mistakes?" Yeah, that happened. That's something that cannot happen. Like, I desperately want this team. I feel it like deep down, I want them to make the playoffs. But realistically, I know they're not going to do that much damage there, even if they do make it. And the chances of them making it, if they're playing like this, are really, really low. But again, the other teams that they're in contention with, they're competing against, none of them are showing that they want it either. Even though I just said Montreal is, it looks like they're starting to at least grab hold of that spot. They have the game in hand on the Rangers, which is why it's so important that the Rangers run the table over these last 7 games. I'm just not confident that they could do it. They still haven't won 3 straight since November. They have a chance to do it tomorrow, and even if they do run the table here, I mean, are you gonna be able to beat Washington? They look great. They look really good tonight against the Blackhawks. Really, it's an inferior team, so it's hard to judge that. Uh, but Washington is definitely not the same team they were last year. They got significantly better while the Rangers got worse. So, is that enough of a shift for Washington to get over the hump and beat the Rangers? I think so. For the Rangers, it's not like, "Oh, well, we were here last year and we were good last year and the year before, and then the year before that we were good, so we're automatically guaranteed a playoff spot." No, it's not how it works. You gotta get in. You gotta beat these other teams. They haven't done it this year. They've been terrible against playoff teams all season. So, nothing nothing is set in stone. Nothing is guaranteed here. The urgency, I need to see more of the way they played Wednesday. The best defense is a good offense. The way the Rangers have been playing defense, just don't play defense. Just play offense. That's how the Rangers are going to find success. If they're going to find any this year, is just attack as much as you can. That's when they're generating offense and momentum. That's the best way for the clock to go down. That's the best way for them to get chances and score the goals, build on a lead. When they're constantly sheltered in their own end, it feels like they can't do anything. Can't break the puck out, can make a clean pass, can't skate, have to rely on the goalies, can't get anything going. Best defense is a good offense. That's what the Rangers got to focus on in these last few games, I think. Because their defense is so terrible. Carson Soucy looks horrible. I know at first I was saying, let's give the guy a chance. He had good metrics maybe last year or the year before that. I've seen him play now enough. He's not good. He's a disaster. He's even worse in the offensive zone than Lindgren, believe it or not. He's bad. I don't know why DeHaan's not in or Zach Jones isn't in. To me, I like Vakanainen. I think he's fine. Carson Soucy's not it, especially at the cap hit of 3 million, $3.5 million, whatever it is. Not good enough. So the Rangers should, I think they should try and move on from him in the offseason already. Kind of reminds me of Patrick Nemeth. Uh, maybe not as bad as Nemeth, but somewhere along the same in the same area there. Um, Another big issue for the Rangers is their power play. What are they? They're like 4 for their last, like, 40 something. 4 for their last almost 50 power plays. Something that was so automatic for them is just been so putrid. Horrible even. Like, I don't know what the Rangers should do. Like, they keep trying this thing where they keep their main unit together and they just switch out one of Kreider or Trocheck with JT Miller. That's it. Honestly, I don't think that's working anymore. Matt, I got to get the banner. Ice Cold Take segment. How do the Rangers fix their power play? Well, I think you got to completely nuke the tried and true, the go-to units, the go-to pairs into the sun. Nuke it into the sun. I think you should try something crazy. Go with your youth movement here. So for your first unit, I would put Cooley in the front of the net. Put Lafreniere in his comfortable spot, the spot that he played in the World Juniors, the left point area, left circle, left point. Put Mika in the bumper. Gabe Perreault, put him in the right circle so he has that one-timer. Have Fox back there on the point. I think you should try that. If you keep going with this stacked first line power play unit, it's not working. Why you keep trying it? It's not working. It's clearly not the same as it was in previous years. Try it out. Try something different. Then, because you're using so many of the younger guys there, it frees up your older guys to play on the second unit. So you have on your second unit, you actually have a 2-unit power play like most teams do. You put Kreider in front of the net where he usually is. Put Othman in the left circle, Trocheck in the middle, JT Miller on the right circle for the one-timer, and put Keandre Miller back there at the point. That's the best thing. That's the biggest change that I could do. I would even consider putting Brodzinski in there because Brodzinski, believe it or not, has had pretty damn good chances on the power play. Why? Because he's the only damn guy that shoots the puck. He's not afraid to shoot it. He's the only guy on the team, really, that his first instinct in the offensive zone is to shoot it. And I love that. It's been working for him. I think he's got double-digit goals this year. For a guy that's making his cap hit, terrible. I mean, that's amazing. Amazing. I'll take that. Rangers Central Mets. These guys don't want me talking about the Rangers. Sylor McGill season. Oh man. Yeah, well, I'll talk about him. Yeah. But yeah, this just to kind of put a bow on it. I think Cooley, Lafreniere, Mika, Perreault, and Fox is your first unit. Kreider, Othman, Trocheck, Miller, and Miller is your second unit. There you go. Try it out, see what happens. If it doesn't work, then yeah, your team just sucks. That does it for the Ice Cold Take segment. Now, I want to talk about baseball. The Rangers are worth a 5-minute segment at this point because it's the same things. Before I transition though, guys, did you guys go to the game today together to the Mets game? Ranger Central and Matt. I know Ranger Central did, but I'm not sure if Matt did. What a great game. The Mets home opener here. Dominant 5-0 victory. Yes, we did. Oh, awesome, man. Good for you guys. Reed Garrett's horned up more than some Wingstop cheese sauce. A little inside joke there. But yeah, this is Ice Cold Takes, a New York sports podcast. So I will be talking about the Mets. Maybe this summer, once the Rangers season ends, I will maybe I'll do more weekly episodes. I'll keep the podcast going, but only talk about the Mets. That could be fun. But yeah, baseball is back. It's good to have a real competitive team. in New York, that we know is going to win a lot of games this year. Man, Tyler McGill looks unbelievable. His curveball was sick today. Insane. I haven't seen him pitch like this ever. And this goes back to the end of last season. He keeps surviving. The Mets, obviously, the front office, David Stearns and Carlos Mendoza and everyone in the organization just seems to believe in Tyler McGill. And credit them because they might have something here. He looks great. I think his ERA this season is 0.87. Man, until those 2 walks in the 6th inning, he was lights out. He was great. Only 4 strikeouts, but man, all of his pitches were working. Great to see from him. That would put a smile on our faces. Got that doubleheader on Wednesday as well. Thanks for the tickets as well, Farmer D. Yes, I will be going to the Rangers versus Flyers game on Wednesday. I'm a little upset though because Sam Rosen and John Davidson will be calling that game. So I'll have to catch the replay of that. That's a once in a lifetime. I never got to listen to them growing up. That's a once in a lifetime thing there. Joey, perhaps you invite us on to discuss the Mets. Yeah, if you guys want to hop in here, that would be awesome. I'll send sauce the invites over now. But yeah, I'll be going to the game with Ranger Central and Maddie M. Also, Big Apple Hockey too. Shout outs to them. That'll be fun. I have good seats for that too. I'm gonna invite these guys in here. Oh no, X is over capacity. Oh, never mind. It's in. Yeah, you guys hop in here. The ace was here all along. I'm back in on McGill. His slider has 5 more inches of IVB than it did last season. Well, you're gonna have to explain what IVB is. That's got to be some like analytics terminology here. Let's Joe. Yes. I sauced the invite over to you guys. It's in the group chat. Pete Alonso is such a beast, man. All right. Let's get him in here.
What's going on?
What's up?
But yeah, to explain what IVB is, just because I heard you bring that up before, it just basically means how much a pitch is breaking vertically. So you have horizontal break versus vertical break, and that's what it is. It's getting 5 more inches of break vertically than it did last season. I'm back in on Miguel.
Yeah, he's good. Matty M, what's going on?
Not much.
Where were you guys sitting? Where were you guys sitting at Citi Field for the home opener?
We were down the third base line.
Nice.
Section 128.
Yeah, and saw that garbage home run call originally on Ernie Clement that they ended up overturning, which I don't know how they even ruled that a home run originally, but that's besides the point.
Oh, yeah, Keith Hernandez and Gary Cohen let the umpires have it.
Yeah, it was clear as day that it was a foul ball.
Yeah.
Mets went 2 for 2 on challenges today. That was crazy. The way the Mets started that game, Lindor going straight for second base on that hit to the gap. And it was ballsy. I love it though. It's like, the crowd's in, get the crowd into it, hype them up. The hype man, Lindor.
Yeah, no,
that was awesome.
No, yeah, I love seeing the aggressiveness of the aggressiveness of Lindor there. And originally, because like at first we saw him be called out, and I'm like, it was nice to see Lindor get on base and get a hit there, but because he'd been struggling so much and with Soto right behind him, you're like,
yeah,
why do you just have to test a little bit? Like it's the start of the game, like take your base. But I mean, credit to him, he had that nice swim slide and he got in there, and then Pete eventually drove him in with the 2-run bomb.
I have no idea how he hit that out still. Like that ball, it looked like it was in the other batter's box, and he didn't even put a full swing on it. The ball went out. It just kept carrying. On TV, it just the right fielder kept like going back and back and back. I'm like, when is this ball gonna die? And it never did. It went over the fence. He's got insane power. he's off to such a great start. I'm really happy the Mets kept him.
Yeah, right now I'm because my opinion in the offseason, I was like, whatever happens, happens at this point. Because if he's gonna hardball, then it is what it is. Right now, they probably aren't at. They're definitely not at 4 wins without Pete Alonso right now.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he's looking. I would argue that this is the best we've seen Pete Alonso, like even outside of 2022, because his plate approach, even like Matt and I were talking about in that Houston series, even though he wasn't getting a lot of hits in that series, the plate approach was just so much better versus what it was all of last season, where he was getting the walks. And I think part of that's obviously because Juan Soto's in front of him, and just standing in the on deck circle and watching Juan Soto take at bats, you learn a lot just from that alone. And now he's going up there and he's not chasing the sliders as much as he usually is. He's not chasing all of the breaking balls outside of the zone. He's a lot more patient. And even when something is on the outside part of the plate, like Matt's been talking about all the time, he's finding a way to hit it out of he's finding a way to leave yard every time. Instead of the inside part of the plate, go ahead, give it to him on the outside part, because he'll just hit a home run anyway.
Yeah, he had before I let you go, Matt, like the one in Miami, the 3-run homer was on the outside part of the plate, and he hit it 400 feet to center field, over 400 feet. It's insane how much he could cover the plate with his bat.
Yeah, I mean, there was the one pitch that he kind of I forgot which at bat it was that he kind of chased a little bit, but then he fouled off a fastball, and then he took that. It was the third pitch on the first at bat, because it was a 1-2 count. Sorry, it was a 1-1 count, and Gosman threw him a splitter. He chased, then he threw him a fastball, kind of middle of the zone almost. He fouled it off, and then he took that fastball to the outside and hit a home run. I mean, his plate approach has been just it's been excellent so far. And yeah, I agree with Evan. This is probably the best Pete Alonso that we've seen since 2019, and that's saying something, because he had a legendary year that year with the 53 home runs and breaking the rookie record. But I mean, yeah, listen, I wanted Pete Alonso back in the offseason. But for me, it was always at the Mets price. And because we always knew that Pete Alonso, he had no market. There was all this talk about, the Blue Jays could have got him, but there was never really any, like, I mean, I know the Andy Martino article came out saying that, that the Jays were basically on the 10-yard line with Pete Alonso, but then nothing ever happened with that. So when a guy doesn't have leverage like that, like Stearns pretty much had all the leverage right there, and they took advantage of it, and they got him back for a 2-year deal. I mean, if he's going to continue like this, I mean, for sure he's opting out of the contract and hitting and testing for agency this year. That's not without a doubt. And listen, at that point, I don't know what's going to happen, but I mean, first we just let's just get through this year at first and try to make a deep run and try to win a World Series. But I mean, listen, good on Pete, and I hope that he just puts up the most insane numbers this year, and then we'll see what happens.
That yard line comment is like, you could almost automatically assume that whatever you say is not going to happen based on what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, like Buster Olney, I'll bet the farm that the Mets get George Springer.
Not well, there's that, but I was hinting at, what was it? Eichel was on the 1-yard line, and that never happened. Eichel to the Rangers on the 1-yard line. Was that Larry Brooks? I can't remember if that was Larry.
I forgot about that one entirely. Yeah, because I just think of all the dumb things where it's just like, oh yeah, this is close, this is close. I mean, nothing will top when Bob Nightingale tweeted the Mets signed Trevor Bauer, which I mean, dodged a major bullet there.
He also said that the Mets signed Brad Hand, and that never happened.
And then they unfortunately got Brad Hand.
Yeah, later, not right.
Yeah, not right at that moment.
Not right at that moment, right. Also, I was listening on the radio, back to Alonso for a second. I was listening to the game on the radio for a bit, and they were saying Alonso was saying that he took this offseason to actually learn how to hit. That was his exact words. He took the offseason to actually learn how to hit, and that kind of caught me by surprise. And I'm like, oh damn. And you know what? It kind of looks like he looks great. Like what was the stat last year? I think in the regular season he only had like 2 home runs to the opposite field. Right?
I'm not sure about that, but I know when you look at Fangraphs and and you like kind of like filter it and you look at high leverage at bats, he only had one home run in high leverage situations during the regular
Oh,
season.
that there was that, and that was what he was known for. He used to hit home runs in high leverage situations all the time in his like first few years, and he used to hit the ball to the opposite field all the time. The playoffs were he got back to that, and I think the start of this season he's picked up where he left off essentially. Like the series against the Marlins, I agree with Evan. They don't win. They don't win. They don't have 4 wins this year without
Yeah.
Alonso.
I
Like
mean, like
they had
like
no business winning that series finale
oh
against
no,
Miami.
no,
I'm sorry. Like they were all over the place fundamentally. Like
no.
Beatty's throw and Vientos Vientos is out to such a rough start this year. Like Lindor's defense, the Mets had no business winning that game, but Alonso willed them to victory. And
No,
the
it was
bullpen has been fantastic too.
it was one of the most sloppiest games that I've probably ever seen the Mets play. At least this current iteration of the Mets, because I mean, you know, we've had some years in 2017, 2018, those
2019 versus the
horrible.
Nationals.
Ugh.
Yeah, but I mean, like I agree with your point that he did that in the playoffs, Pete Alonso, because when you look at all of his home runs, apart from the one in Game 5 against Jack Flaherty, where he took him to dead center at Citi Field. I mean, the Devin Williams one was opposite field. The one against the Phillies in Game 1, that was opposite field, and then the Game 3 home run, that was opposite field too. So he never pulled any of his home runs in the playoffs last year. So, and the fact that he's doing it again, I mean, if that's true, that's what he said, that he really took the time this offseason to learn how to hit. I mean, he must have had a fucking good teacher, because right now, I mean, he's killing the ball, and
Not Eric Chavez.
No, yeah, definitely not Eric Chavez, but like we were saying, his whole plate approach is it's really good right now.
Yeah. Soto's off to a bit of a slow start, kind of surprising, but he did have a nice hit today. He drove in I think he drove in a run.
Yeah, RBI double.
Yeah. The Mets, you know what's nice about the Mets watching them? Like Gosman's not a bad pitcher, right? The first inning, I didn't think he was like horrible. He kept pounding the strike zone, but the Mets just kept fouling everything off. Like Nimmo's at bat after the Alonso homer was awesome. Like that was what, a 10, 11 pitch, 12 pitch at bat, and he worked his way on.
12 pitch at bat, yeah.
12 pitch at bat, right? Like that's the Mets' identity. The Mets have an identity. The Rangers don't have an identity. That's why it's nice to watch baseball now for me. And I'm sure that's why you guys are excited too.
Yeah, 100%.
We've been craving Mets baseball for months now.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
longer than that, because just like dealing with this ever since October, I've been dying for this to come back. But yeah, it's the unfortunate part is that, you know, part of their identity is also that they score runs in a couple of innings and then they just do nothing outside of that, which that's something that still is frustrating. That's carrying over from last year, because once Nimmo had that at bat against Gausman, I was like, they're going to knock him out of the game by the 4th or 5th inning. Like, no question here. And then just too many uncompetitive at bats after that, considering where they had Gausman. And, you know, sometimes you could tip your cap to the pitcher and be like, all right, they settled in. But this is a trend with this team to where I can't be like, you know, it's just the pitcher there, even though Gausman is as good as he is. This is a trend, unfortunately, that they just, for whatever reason, they'll score runs in a couple of innings, and then outside of those, like 1 or 2 innings, they just do not score at all.
So something to keep an eye on in the early goings of the season, definitely, for sure. But I mean the pitching too is the Mets pitching has been really good so far. I think the starters have been great, and surprisingly, I don't think I've said this sentence in a long ass time. The bullpen has been solid. I haven't said Mets bullpen and solid in the same sentence since like 2015 maybe. Like Max Kranick is unbelievable. I got to give this guy is unbelievable, man. Like I don't remember the last reliable relief pitcher the Mets had. Seth Lugo?
Like Seth Lugo and Justin Wilson together. If not, it's 2022 Edwin Diaz. And then that's the thing, though. Like, we talked about how last year there were so few options to where guys just ran into the ground. Like Reed Garrett last year had such a good first few months, ran into the ground. Jose Budo had a really good like July, August, and then even parts of September ran into the ground. Nunez got ran into the ground and then it caused him to get hurt. Like it
Oh,
got
they
to a
need
point where
him
the
back
circle
for
of
sure.
trust last year in the playoffs was Stanek, Diaz, and half of Reed Garrett. Like that was it at that point. Right now, and we were talking about it on our post game on the way home from the game, where with the way this bullpen is constructed, it's hard to argue that the Mets should go to a 6-man rotation because right now you have 3 guys in that bullpen that give multiple innings, and it's alleviating the pressure off of the high leverage guys between Kranick, Budo, and Brazoban, who's been off to an unbelievable start,
Yeah,
better than I thought he would be.
yeah.
And like the only guy you don't trust in that bullpen right now is Danny Young, and for whatever reason he was in that game against the Marlins. But yeah, like this bullpen, that was Matt and I both agreed that like this was going to be the highlight of the season. I think we're seeing better than we even thought though right now because it's just unbelievable that no matter what, like I trust whoever comes in. Like the second that Reed Garrett warms up, I'm like, all right, well, Tyler McGill, he might get in a mess. Reed Garrett's going to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's good. It's good to have that confidence.
My bold prediction before the start of the year, when we were talking about it on our podcast, was that the Mets bullpen would finish with the top 3 ERA. And it's I mean, right now, it's early, but it's looking good. And again, I had confidence in it because David Stearns built this bullpen. He built this whole pitching staff, and he knows what he's doing. He did it with under no budget in Milwaukee, and that was great. And now, and to be fair, I mean, David Stearns isn't even spending a lot of money on the pitching. He's just finding a lot of good budget options. He's finding solid starting pitching options at good prices. He hasn't gone out there and he hasn't given a Corbin Burns type contract like that. I mean, he offered a big contract to Yoshinobu Yamamoto that, and he ultimately took it with the Dodgers. But apart from that, like he hasn't really allocated that many resources towards, just one guy per se. I mean, there could be a chance where, and we talked about on our last podcast, because after the Marlins series, guys like Lindor, Marte, and Soto were talking about the opportunity of potentially acquiring a guy like Sandy Alcantara at the deadline. And
crazy.
If you get a guy like Sandy, I mean, that's a bona fide ace. And I know he had the Tommy John surgery in 2023, and he healed up all of 2024. But even like I was saying, like even if he's not the 2022 Cy Young Sandy Alcantara version, that's still an ace that takes the ball every 5 day and could pitch deep into games.
Yeah, he's still nasty. Like we've seen him enough over the years. Like the Mets play the Marlins enough times to where you get a good grasp of who their pitchers are. And like I used to love what the Marlins had pitching. It's not the same anymore since Kim Ning left and who was the manager? Skip Schumacher. Yeah, it's like not the same. Yeah. But Alcantara is a beast. I was like really caught off guard that like Lindor and Soto were saying like, yeah, they're kind of will it into existence that they want Alcantara. I'm like, I'm not used to that because of all the hockey talk that I've been doing on the show. But yeah, like having him there, that would be great. I feel like getting back to the bullpen though, I feel like if Kranick keeps going like this, I feel like he could be like last year's Reed Garrett, maybe even better. But Evan mentioned that the Mets relied on Garrett a lot last season, kind of ran him into the ground. Now that you have all these options here, Brazoban is actually throwing strikes now. Like I don't get having Danny Young in there. He looks terrible. Looks like he's the one guy that looks out of place here.
Yeah, he's only here until Nunez is coming back, and I think that's fairly soon because he pitched last night in AAA. He pitched 2 shutout innings, so it looks like he's on his way back up here. Nice. So, and we desperately need him because again, that's a guy that could go multiple innings and just eat innings and just throw strikes and just that's a guy they need. And I'm like we were saying, like I trust his bullpen and help and relief is coming on the way. So I mean, the pitching's only gonna get even better. And then that's not counting, eventually when Minaya and Montas come back, and then maybe like I was saying, maybe they make the trade for Alcantara. I mean, this pitching staff is loaded.
Yeah, starting pitching, I think they could use like a bona fide ace. Like that's why I was waiting for like a Sasaki or who is it in the offseason? Corbin Burns and Walker Buehler were free agents, right?
Yeah, I wanted originally when we were talking about it, me and Evan, we wanted Crochet. And, and the Mets were deeply involved in trade talks, but unfortunately the Red Sox just offered a better package to the White Sox, and then they ended up extending him for 6 more years. So So if it's not Crochet, that's why I'm kind of all in on Sandy right now.
That's another thing too, is that the Mets are in such a good spot too when it comes to like trade proposals and packages. They have so many prospects they could offer up in trades, like, and they wouldn't have to worry about it like taking a dip into like what they have right now, where they're sacrificing too much for the future. Like they have the guys in place right now. They have guys that are injured, like Ronnie Mauricio's injured, but they have Luis Angel Acuna. They have Brett Beatty. They have McNeil. Like they could trade McNeil, they're fine. They could trade Beatty too, and they'll be fine. Like if they wanted to trade Mauricio too, they'll be fine. Catcher, like every position they're stacked in, like they are loaded in the pipeline. This is such a good position to be in. It's like pitching though, I think is the one weak spot in the pipeline. Correct me if I'm wrong.
To an extent, yes. To an extent, no. I mean, guys like I would argue actually their pitching. I think their pitching has more. How do I want to word this?
Organizationally,
I think it has higher potential with the top end names, but there's definitely more depth with the position players. Like, when you look at guys like Sproat, Tong, McLean, like those are some really good prospects, especially Tong and Sproat. Like those two guys could be legitimate rotation pieces.
They also have Christian Scott too, who's injured.
Yeah, he's going to be back next year at Tommy John surgery.
Is Matt Allen still trending? Like I know he had like a bunch of injury issues, and
he's been pitching. I think he's pitching single A right now. I mean, just his whole career was basically derailed by injuries. But I mean, he's still young enough to the point where if he could work his way up the pipeline, I mean, he still has a chance to make the roster. Because I think eventually, like a couple years from now, because I think he's still like 24, 25. So
something like that. Yeah,
he could still break through.
He throws exactly like Matt Harvey. It's crazy.
He's still throwing like high 90s too, which is insane with the amount of injuries that he's had.
He's about to turn 24 on April 17th.
Yeah. I mean, there's still something maybe there in Matt Allen. I don't know how much is left in them, but I mean, either way, like they're at the point where they have the depth with the prospects. And the thing that we were discussing, just because, we were running through the hypothetical, if they were to get Sandy, like, would you move Sproat, who, in our opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of people, is the Mets' best prospect? I think, yes, obviously you don't start and, hand them Sproat, but like if it comes down to needing to give up Sproat, we were arguing, because the window's now, like, go ahead and try to get Sandy because he's under control for this year, and then 2 more years after. Why not, really push for it, especially while Lindor's in his prime. And then obviously now that you added Juan Soto and all these other pieces you have in place, I would personally do it, but that's just me.
Yeah. Yes. That's what. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No. I was saying because there before the season there was some discussions that the Mets could possibly look with the Padres and make a trade for Dylan Cease or Michael King. But when you look at it, and we touched upon this on our last podcast, but Sandy makes a lot more sense for the Mets because when you look at David Stern's philosophy and his model and how to build pitching staffs, he doesn't like to go out and trade for guys who are going to be on expiring contracts going to free agency. And that's what King and Cease are. They're going to be entering free agency next year. And if the Mets were to trade for them, they would not sign extensions midseason. They would be looking to test the market because they know that some team would be willing to give them a long-term contract at big time money. But the thing with Sandy is he's 29 years old. He just came off of Tommy John surgery, and he's looking decent right now. So you don't have to worry about another potential really bad arm injury as soon as like possible. And they have him for this year. They would have him for next year. And then there will be a team option, I think at $21 million for 2027, which you would take that team option every day unless he would somehow just fall off the face of the earth. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I mean, listen, if you had to go up a guy like Brandon Sproat, obviously we wouldn't start the trade proposals with Sproat in it. But eventually, if it does work its way up to and Sproat's a make or break deal, you probably have to throw him in there because, like we were saying, the window is to win right now. Lindor's only going to be in his prime for a couple more years. Obviously Soto's going to be there, but you have Pete for this year. Nimmo's getting older, so it would suck to give up on a guy like Brandon Sproat, especially since he's going to be in this division for a long time, and he could possibly pitch well against the Mets for years to come. But that's a price you have to pay for a potential World Series.
And I wouldn't, if you're thinking, oh, why would the Marlins trade Alcantara to the Mets, like they're division rivals. Well, the Marlins traded JT Realmuto to the Phillies
and Luzardo this offseason.
and
the
Luzardo to the Phillies
Marlins
as well.
traded Mike Piazza to the New York Mets.
Yes, like I don't believe in that. Like, oh, they wouldn't trade him. Like they're gonna trade him for the best offer. If they're gonna trade him, they're gonna trade him for the best offer. And I think the Mets realistically have as good a shot as out of everybody.
Yeah,
To
the only
offer the best deal.
The only team that scares me, and we were talking about this when we were going to the game, me and Evan. The only team that potentially scares me that could beat us out on an offer is the Orioles, because the Orioles desperately need pitching, because they traded for Burns last year. They didn't sign him for agency. They instead elected to sign a 40-year-old Charlie Moore, and they do have a better prospect system than us. So, and the Orioles are looking to win right now. So, and they have such a stacked lineup, and we were talking about this when we were doing our preseason predictions, that you cannot waste this lineup, this young, talented lineup that the Orioles have. So that's the only team that will potentially scare me.
It's not. It's a going back to like what we were talking about how the Mets are like in a position to trade and stuff, and that this is a win now situation here. We can almost you can take the logic of how the Rangers did not trade for Jake Gensel last year. I'm gonna make Evan seethe. Matt just put his head down. And apply it here. Learn from your mistakes here. Mets shouldn't prospect hug here. Like, I know these guys are good, but what are they doing for you right now? Pretty much is like you already have guys contributing. Where are you gonna use them? Like, you only have so many roster spots available, like so many lineup spots. If you're not using them and you're trying to go for a World Series this year, then let's say the Mets are in first place in the NL East at the trade deadline, and they are looking to upgrade. Phillies are like right behind them. You got to upgrade. You can't just stand pat at the deadline. Everybody else is going to get better. So use your prospects and go make yourself better. Sandy Alcantara. I like that. I like that idea. I was just caught off guard that they were already talking about it. I'm like, damn, openly talking about acquiring this guy. Oof, man, I love it. It's pretty cool. But yeah, are we concerned about Mark Vientos' struggles so far?
No, not yet. Like, I thought today he had better at bats than he did in that entire Miami series. Like, sure, he didn't get, when you look at the box score and you think, okay, you see 0 for 3, you probably think he didn't have a good game, but I thought he was a lot more patient at the plate today, except for like one at bat where he was starting to chase a little bit, which I didn't like to see, but he was also tested a lot at third today and he looked a lot better defensively.
Yeah.
So I think that he'll be fine. Just give him time. The thing that we've been talking about the most, which, today didn't back up really, that they do need to change the lineup. But if it got to a point where they need to change the lineup, we've been huge advocates of potentially moving Vientos back into the 2 hole, because pitchers are going to be forced more to throw to Vientos with Juan Soto hitting right behind him. And then you still have Soto hitting in front of Alonso. Nimmo would still hit behind Pete. So it doesn't change much entirely other than Vientos potentially seeing more pitches. So again, that's if they do need to make any lineup changes, but I don't know if they're going to get there. I'm not worried though, personally.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea, because because it kind of takes the logic of how they pitched around Lindor to pitch to Vientos in the playoffs last year with the bases loaded. It kind of takes that concept here, but you're doing it for every game, right? Like, and Vientos could do damage if he gets good pitches. I like that. So you're saying put Vientos in at 2, and then Soto at 3 and Lonzo batting cleanup.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of like. I could get on board with that. Brett Beatty also, not surprisingly, does he have a hit? He has one hit, I think.
Yeah, he has one double.
Only one hit.
Chris Kreider moment from him where he's getting a hit in a meaningless spot.
Acuna looks great. Acuna looks good though so far. I have to say, like, I know the first game, the opening day didn't go well for the Mets. But he had a really nice at bat in the 9th inning in that game. I didn't talk about it on my show last week, but yeah, he he looks like a professional.
Yeah,
Acuna. He hasn't even been there for that long.
Yeah, the only thing about opening day was, I mean, he had the nice at bat, but he also made that terrible error, which drove in a run for the Astros. So
Oh yeah. That was
that throwing error and
I forget what
typical.
inning it was.
Yeah, I think it was the third inning. If I have to say off the top of my head, I think it was the third. And that just goes again with Clay Holmes because Clay Holmes just cannot escape from bad defense. It cost him in that last game of the Marlins series, and it didn't help him in that first game in Houston on opening day.
He should wear 23 next time he's out there.
Results, man.
Clay Holmes as a starter looks pretty good. Just not getting the results. Yeah, the defense isn't bailing him out. Like, yeah, the fundies. I'm kind of surprised to see that the Mets weren't doing too hot in that department over the first like 2 series. Good start to this Blue Jay series. I know there was a lot of talk about like Vlad Guerrero too.
He got cheered today.
Yeah, he got cheered.
Is that still a thing? Like, do we still want the Mets to pursue him in like free agency or trade for him? Or
I'll start with this one just because I feel like I was like really obnoxious about it on Twitter and all off season with the Pete Alonso fan club getting back and forth with it. I'll say this because seeing his asking price, if he truly wants 500 to 600 million, my opinion is this: I am not going to complain if they get him. It is not my money. I will be happy if he's a Met. I am also not going to be mad if the Mets don't go aggressively on him because they got the star in Juan Soto this offseason. I would not hate if they allocated that money to deepen this lineup, get a real DH in there, get a real second baseman maybe in this lineup as well, and see what happens. And at that point, then maybe also you do allocate that money to a starting pitcher. So would I like Vlad? Yeah, I mean, I would not complain. He's a superstar player, but I'm also not going to sit here and be pissed off like I would have if the Mets didn't land Soto this offseason.
Yeah, like I was thinking about it in the car today. Like, if you get Guerrero, who is he replacing? I'm like, Starling Marte at DH? Yes, hell yes, sign me up. That'd be great. Like, it's night and day. You look at other teams that are competing against, like the Dodgers. They have superstars at every single position in the lineup. You put Guerrero there, now you could at least size up to them on paper. I know on paper doesn't matter as much when you hit October. The Dodgers were able to make it all happen this past October, but will they make it happen 2 Octobers in a row? I know they're off to a great start. Crazy start. What are they? 8-0, 9-0, something like that.
They're 7-1. They're 7-1. They lost tonight to the.
Oh, they did lose. Okay.
Yeah.
Which Evan got screwed over on a parlay.
Oh man, Bettany.
Fucking Ohtani. Ironic that Ohtani sold a parlay.
Maybe it was you.
No, I'm not the translator because, he wouldn't have tried to steal second base on JT Realmuto with Mookie Betts at the plate then.
Oh, man. Trying to think what else we could talk about with the Mets. I mean, it was like a so-so start, and then the last 2 games, like Alonso's 3-run homer against the Marlins, pulling it out in extra innings. And today, I think it was their best all-around game.
Yeah. I mean, like what we were saying on our when because we did the post game, we recorded a video in the car on the way back. Once the offense finds a way to click, this is going to be a very dangerous team because I mean, if the pitching staff's going to continue what they're doing and they're getting reliable starts from all 5-6 guys out there, and the bullpen is just going to go out there and eat innings and be reliable, then like I said, when this offense clicks and they're going to be able to put up 7, 6 runs a game, then they're going to win a lot of baseball games. And then, you get to the trade deadline, you make a big addition, whether it's another pitcher or another bat. And this team could go toe-to-toe with the Dodgers. I mean, it's going to be tough because probably the Dodgers are going to find some way to get another fucking superstar at the trade deadline too, because you just cannot count that team out of any trade. I mean, I stopped counting the Dodgers out of trade opportunities when they acquired Scherzer and Turner at the 2021 deadline. Because I'm like, if you're pulling off that kind of deal now, then it's like, yeah, I can't count you out of anything. But
Yeah.
It's gonna be. I mean, listen, there's still a long way to go, though. We got 6 months left and 150 something games left of baseball. So, but it's gonna be a fun season.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't like disappoint me. You know what I mean? Like I'm the Mets fan in me is waiting for the other shoe to drop, but I feel really confident though. Like
These Mets are different.
yeah. Yeah, that's I do feel that. And it was just the run they went on at the end of last season and in the playoffs too that really changed everything. Uh yeah, it's great. One thing that is also shocking to me is like how like unafraid the bullpen is and the pitching is of throwing strikes. I feel like that's been a huge improvement so far this season is like compared to the end of last season where they would get themselves into jams, like they wouldn't go inside the strike zone. Now it's like they're firing strikes. They're not afraid to go to get in there to get an out. Like that's all Kranick does is he just pounds the strike zone.
Yeah.
I love
Reed
that.
Garrett too. When he
Yeah,
came in with guys on base out and he's just pumping strikes and he's not afraid to, attack the inside part of the zone. I was like, I tweeted, I'm like, I love me some Reed Garrett. He's my favorite reliever on this team right now. It
yeah,
just every time he comes in, he is making things happen. His splitter, the one that he threw on Alejandro Kirk to
That
get
was
him swinging
nasty.
there, he is disgusting. And it's
yeah.
crazy to think the difference, how we're talking about Reed Garrett now versus in 2023.
Yeah, I don't remember much of 2023. That to be honest with you guys, in 2023, I really stopped paying attention to Mets baseball. Like after that June Brave series where the Mets had a lead in all three games
100%.
and blew all three games, that pissed me the hell off so much. I really could not. I'm like, yeah, this team is cooked. This is not a winning team. And then to see them in 1 year completely flip the script, like with a lot of the same players, but I mean, there was I guess the clubhouse changed, like the manager changed, and Lindor had an even better season. Everything is just completely different. I'm very shocked. So that's where like that's why I'm like saying to myself, like, is this team really that different? I don't know.
Hey, but Joey, you know what the big difference was, right? The Mets got a competent guy in the front office making decisions. That
Yeah, I
helps.
know,
That
right?
helps.
It's nice when you don't have like ownership putting these like uh, ridiculous roadblocks in front of you too to make moves and stuff. And it's not everything's hush hush. I love how everything's so open with the Mets and like you could truly see that everybody cares in there. Like I don't know if you guys saw it. I love that the Mets do this too. Like their social team is great. They put like a little two-part documentary on
Yeah, the
YouTube about
pursuit.
how they got
Yeah.
Juan Soto. That was incredible. Like, I was not expecting something like that. I watched it opening day. Oh my god, I was so hyped.
But
I was ready to run through wall.
it's great though because like when you just look at the whole hierarchy, right? I mean, you have Stearns in there making the decisions. You have Mendy, who's shown so far through his 1 year and plus that he's been a real good manager. And then when you look at ownership, you have Steve Cohen, who was a fan from when he was a young kid. He's willing to spend the big bucks, as we've seen with Juan Soto and when he came in here and bought the team. And then you have his wife, Alex Cohen, who's really behind the scenes a big reason of why the culture's changed. And because when you look at like and the whole freaking presentation of Soto, a big factor was not only about the baseball part, but the whole family part. And
Yeah.
that's why like a lot of guys like when they re-signed with the Mets and like Amazing Day, and you heard last year after the Mets got eliminated, when you heard guys like Minaya and Winker talk about like the whole culture and the whole family thing, and that's a big reason. That's a big part of the reason why the Mets have turned around and why free agents actually want to come here now and play for this organization.
Evan,
Did
you're
someone say
smiling.
culture change?
Yes, culture change.
That's
I was
JT
wondering.
Miller, baby.
I was wondering where you were going with that. But yeah, another thing too is Steve Cohen isn't afraid to admit when he makes a mistake.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference from what the Rangers are. Huge difference.
Yeah.
There's so many examples of that with the Rangers where they don't admit when they're wrong. Like, how many times did they play Libor Hayek? They kept trying him and trying him because they didn't want to admit that the McDonough trade was a failure. Like, oh my god, I can't even think of all the other things that they do. Like, how long did it take for them to move on from them? At the full year? Why did they have to wait a full year? Why couldn't they move on from him immediately? It's all stupid,
round pick,
petty
baby.
shit that just like that bothers me. And you know that because they're Mets fans, both David Stearns and Steve Cohen, they're both Mets fans. They have the organization's best interest at heart, not just money. They want to win. You know what I mean? I don't know if I could say the same thing about the Rangers anymore.
Fuck no.
No, Dolan just gives a fuck about playoff revenue. Like, I don't think he cares if the team wins.
I mean, I'm not much of a basketball guy, but is Leon Rose? Leon Rose seems like a guy that has the Knicks' best interest at heart rather than getting Dolan the revenue, right? Am I right or am I wrong? I don't know.
To an extent, I mean, like the Knicks are. It's hard to gauge with the Knicks right now because they're kind of like in the first year of this group being what it is and really seeing where they're going to go because. Right now, I would probably say their second round exits to Boston, maybe get to the third round. But I don't know. It's hard to gauge with them because
they're in a better spot than the Rangers, though, it sounds like.
I mean, that's not hard to
be honest. That's not difficult.
A low bar.
But it's a bar they clear nonetheless. But yeah. I mean, like seeing and the Jets. Ugh.
Oh, the Jets are just the Jets.
Yeah. The Jets are just the Jets. We should clown on Evan for being an Eagles fan. Like
clown on me.
Like it's like taking the easy way out. Like you actually root for a good like a really good team.
What does that mean? Taking the easy way out.
You got to suffer like through all of your teams. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Evan,
I suffer enough carrying.
All right, I had enough of this shit. I'm tired of three mediocre teams that'll never win. Give me a team that's gonna win every year now.
I care about them the least of my four teams though, so it's like I'm dealing with enough suffering. Like when they won, don't get me wrong, I was thrilled, but it is not going to be the same if any of my other three teams, especially the Mets or Rangers, win in my life. That will hit different.
So were you the one that took down the traffic light, or were you the one that ran into the pole in the train station all those years ago when the Eagles won?
Both.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm so happy. Like this is so different too, guys. Like with baseball coming back now, at this time of year, the past 3 seasons, I've been so in tune with the Rangers. Now it's like I really don't want to watch the Rangers. Believe it or not. And it's hard for me to say because this show has primarily been about the Rangers. I've been doing it for almost 5 years now. And the other day, even with Gabe Perreault's debut, I'm paying more attention to the Mets game. Granted, it's a tie game in extra innings. But I'm way more concerned about that in early sixth game of the season in April.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm more concerned about that than I am the Rangers in the midst of a playoff hunt.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been such a harsh critic of the Rangers, and I've been vocal that I don't want them to make the playoffs, but it does suck, like, because at the end of the day, I'm a fan. I want to cheer for them. I want them to win, but it's just they're in such a bad spot right now where it's like I'm so disconnected, like mentally from them. It's like, and it sucks because I want to go to the Garden. I want to actually celebrate goals when goals go in. Like I don't want to be all negative and shit like that, but it is what it is. It's the current situation at this point.
Yeah, man. It's it's rough. Like with the Rangers right now, I don't think they're gonna I really don't have a lot of hope. Like you said it on my I think last week's stream. They suck the optimism out of me. I don't have a lot of confidence in that they're gonna be able to make a run to the end of the season in the last 7 games. Like if they could win tomorrow against the Devils, great. But can you win the games after that? Like who else do they have to play? They got to play.
I don't think. They have 2 more games against Tampa. They have 1 more game against Carolina and 1 more game against Florida.
They haven't beaten playoff teams all year. What makes you think that they're going to win now? All of a sudden, like are they just gonna? is Gabe Perreault's arrival going to magically catapult them over the hump? Like, I don't think so, man. It's just it's
No.
wrong. Like, I agree with you. Deep down, I want them to make the playoffs. I really, really do. I really want them to make the playoffs. I still go crazy when they score goals and stuff. Like, I get mad at the TV when they screw up. I'm in the games, but I'm also got a foot out, you know? I hate that. I hate that feeling as a fan. I don't want that. And like I hope things change for next season, but it's just
I've been probably mentally checked out of games since November, if I'm gonna be honest.
yeah, like
Like,
they are pretty boring. I have to put that disclaimer that the games have been really boring. So I don't blame you. The Rangers play
especially
such a boring style of hockey.
especially when you compare it and like you go through like on ESPN Plus and you put on another game of the top teams around the league and you just see the differences of how other teams played compared to this team and it's like it's complete night and day. That's why for me it's like I don't want them making the playoffs because what it's gonna be an extra 4 games where at best they maybe win a game and losing 5. Like, sorry, like that's not worth my time.
I pretty much got all my anger out for the Rangers this season. So no matter how it ends, like if they don't make the playoffs, I'm still I'm not gonna throw my computer or whatever. If they make the playoffs, get eliminated in the first round or the second round, I'm not gonna throw a fit or something and say, "Oh, this team sucks." Like pretty much, we already knew that. Like everything we're saying is like it's been a formality and it's been that way for months. Uh, it I think goes back to like I think I ranted about it in November about how the top players, the reason why they're not as good is because the top players, they're reliable players, are not reliable, and their unreliable players were the reliable ones. Like just a complete 180 from last year. No changes. They should have did what you guys said, what you and Evan said, and retooled. Going back to my point last week, like it's too late for that. It's like you're getting these guys now. It's like it's too late for
Yeah.
that. You got to kind of just ride it out until one of Eichel or McDavid hit free agency, and that's not even a guarantee. So
Yeah.
you're actually in a pretty bad spot here.
Yeah, and it's like and it's like we're seeing the whole thing now because a big discussion point of going to the offseason next year is what to do with Panarin since he has 1 year left on his contract. You know, do you keep him? Do you trade him?
Yeah,
And
that's an
and
interesting
listen, and
conversation.
I know people are right now are going goo goo gaga over the point that he's putting up points again, but my thing is like we know come playoff time, Panarin is just gonna disappear again. So it's like, I mean, cool. Like regular season points are nice, but ultimately when you don't show up in the playoffs, what do those regular season points mean at the end of the day? Like,
Like
cool. The 120-point season that he put up last year, I believe me, I fully enjoyed watching him play all 82 games last year. But when it came to the Florida series, he was a non-factor. And he was a big reason why the Rangers lost that Florida series.
yeah, I will lightly agree with you. Like mainly on the playoffs part, but if he gets you to the playoffs, right? Like the Rangers aren't in battling for a playoff spot this year if Panarin's not on the team. Like if you replace him with any other player, I don't think the Rangers are coming close. They're a lottery team. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Maybe it's that the Rangers are better off that way, but we've seen how they've drafted and how they develop. They can't do any of that. Um but yeah, if you could get Panarin on a reasonable cap hit, I'm saying like if you could get him for like what Kreider's contract is, if you're gonna move Kreider and basically just replace Kreider's contract with his own, giving it to Panarin, I'm fine with that. But you still need to add. You need to add. Like if it's anything more than like $7-8 million, I'd say move in a different direction. If he could get you there, but if it's a guy like if he is asking for that much money, $7-8 million, it's a little too pricey. You gotta find a way to trade him and get assets back, and replace him properly. Get another guy that could get you there. And I'm not saying go and sign Mitch Marner because there's another guy that you don't want. I'm not on board with that. I know you might be tempted to take a big dip in free agency this offseason. Main priority for me, number one pair defenseman for Adam Fox. I'm done with Carson Soucy already. I'm off the boat. I'm off the wagon there.
You finally seen what I
I've
saw
seen the
before.
light. Yes, he's worse than Lindgren in the offensive zone. Worse than Lindgren in the offensive zone is what I said earlier. Terrible. Like, I clawed my eyes out when they're in the offensive zone. They have like a great shift, and then I see 24 and White out there. This is on the West Coast trip. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing out here? Get off, get off, get off. And he takes a shot and it just goalie frees it. And like, there you go. We're not scoring for another at least 10 minutes. We're not getting the puck back for another 10 minutes in the offensive zone.
I mean, look, my biggest thing in the offseason is looking to freaking blow up the decor and rebuild it. I just
you
don't know how you do it. I mean, Keandre Mills is gonna be an interesting one. I would look to move him. I just think he's way too inconsistent to commit to him long term at a huge cap hit. I mean, Soucy you could move, but again, you're gonna lose value on that trade. And Drury traded Vancouver a third round pick from him. So, what you get a 6th round pick from a 5th round pick, and then he extended Vakanainen. Schneider's I don't know what they're gonna do with Schneider, and Fox is already locked in. And then Will Borgen's locked in on an extension. I don't know what the hell the Rangers do personally.
Fox is like the one.
They're in such a weird spot where they're locked into so much mediocrity for long term. It's like, and then you have the Igor extension. I don't know. I don't know where this team goes personally. I don't know how this team is going to look like in 5 years.
Yeah, well, they're going to start by trading Kreider. I think that's a
Kreider's gone.
Yeah, like if you trade, what is Mika's cap hit? 8.5 or 8?
8.5.
8.5. So if you do Kreider and Mika, you move both of them. You got to convince Mika to move his no movement clause, and there's no guarantee with that.
Yeah,
that's $15 million off the cap, right? And what do you do with that? How you replacing that? You could just go with your entry level guys. Like Brodzinski has double-digit goals this year. Very a serviceable player. Like if you want to run with JT Miller and Trocheck 1 and then Brodzinski is your 3C, I mean, go ahead for next year. If it gets you closer to getting Eichel or McDavid in free agency the following year, go ahead and do it.
Trocheck, man. Talk about a fall off this year.
Yeah, man. Like
he's been terrible.
Wednesday's game, I know he had the overtime winner. That was a rough game.
He's had a rough year. I hope this is just a 1-year thing and he's able to bounce back next year.
Too.
But I mean, the Rangers do kind of have a saving grace to that contract because I believe after this year, for the last 4 years of that contract, it's a modified no movement clause. And it's at a relatively good cap hit. I think Trocheck making $5.6 million. So if you wanted to, you could move that deal, but I don't know.
Cap's going up every year too, and that's going to help a lot.
And that's the thing that sucks. I loved Trocheck last year. He was such a great piece for them last year. And he made the All-Star game, and he deserved it. He put up like 75 points last year. He was great to watch. That whole line was great to watch. And I mean, Lafreniere's another one too. Where
they're just everybody is taking such a back seat this year. It's hard to watch. I don't know what it is like, but then Gabe Perreault comes in and you just start to feel a little bit excited again too. Like he attacked the middle of the ice his second shift, and I don't know what you thought about it. That pass, you know what I'm talking about, right? The pass to Lafreniere, and Lafreniere fell on his ass. I thought that was all on Lafreniere. I don't know. That's just me, though.
Yeah, listen, I'm excited to watch Gabe Perreault, and I'm going to be excited when we're going to be there on Wednesday night to see him live in action. I'm just not saying I'm skeptical, but I want to be cautious with Gabe Perreault because we've been hyped up with way too many Rangers prospects, and then they ultimately land flat on their face. I still have this thing with Perreault where I love his hockey IQ. I think he's a smart hockey player. Some of the playmaking he makes, some of the passes he makes. I mean, prime example with the pass to Lafreniere. I just still worry about the skating. I still worry that he might be a passenger at some point. Now, listen, if he improves on his skating, that's fine. But we've talked about it for years that Rangers players need to improve on their skating, and there never is an improvement. So, yeah, I'm taking it slow, Perreault. I want to see him perform well, but I'm not going to put all the expectation onto him.
Yeah, that's what the one everything that I've been hearing about him is that the thing that he needs to improve the most is his skating, and I just really hope that he takes the off season to really hammer that home. Kinda like I think that's what Lafreniere did, not this past off season, last off season, um, when he had his breakout year, the 50, almost 60-point season. That's what I think Pro could use here. I'm also excited for Othman too. I like a lot of parts of his game. I just wish he could find the back of the net in one of these games. Can't find goal.
Also the thing with Perreault is, they did it for one game. Are they going to keep him in the top 6? Are they going to give him big time minutes? That's the thing. Because if you're just going to end up putting him bottom 6 and on the 4th line, what's the point?
Right.
He's not going to develop like that. Like, at least put him in the top 6. Put him with JT Miller. Put him with Lafreniere, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, and if you don't do that, you're burning a year of his contract for nothing. Why? Like what is the purpose of that? Why would you play him with like Rempe or freaking Brodzinski? Why? He's never played with guys like that before. I don't care if he needs to earn it. I do not care. You need to play him where he needs to play, where he's comfortable playing. Otherwise, you're never going to take off as a franchise. All these guys, these teams around them get better because they took a step back to take a step forward. Look at how good Washington looks this year compared to last year. They look great. I was watching that game tonight. Man, they did look good. I know they were trailing at a few parts of that game, but they looked like they were in complete control of that game against Chicago. Not a good team, but still.
Yeah, the only scary part was that Alexi Protas had to be helped off the ice. And he's been a key part of that team this year.
Protas is a gem. Like
if they lose him, that's a big blow to their playoff hopes.
Yeah, he's such a big contributor for that team. Protas, they really found a diamond in the rough with him. That would be a huge loss for them. But again, you see all the improvements that the teams around them make, like the Devils defensively and stuff. The Capitals, they went out and got Chychrun, and they already extended him. They killed my dream of Fox Chychrun pair. That's what you got to do. I'm not seeing that with the Rangers. Optimism D is getting killed. It's getting killed. I don't know what to do, Matt.
It was cool to see Ovi tie the record today.
It was. I thought once he scored his first goal, I thought he was going to break it tonight. I thought he was going to get the hat trick.
He had the chance for the open net, and then good for Ryan Leonard, who gets his first goal in the NHL with an empty netter. But listen, the one winner that came out tonight was whoever has Isles tickets and whoever's selling them on the secondary market. Those are the real winners, because I checked during the game still when there was still a chance that Obi could break it. The cheapest ticket at UBS was $269. I checked after, the cheapest was $780.
Oh my God!
Up by $500.
Wow. Do you know what were the ticket prices for the game tonight in Washington?
I didn't check. I didn't see.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They were probably a little more cheaper because he needed 3 goals. But now the fact that it's only 1 goal, but $500 increase in price. Whoever, like I said, whoever it was selling Islander tickets on the secondary market, huge winners tonight, because they're gonna make a huge ass profit.
There was an article from New York Post. As of now, the lowest price we could find on tickets for any one of these final 7 games was $52 before fees on Vivid Seats. The Blackhawks versus Capitals started at $153. Capitals versus Islanders Tuesday, April 15th at UBS, $52. He's gonna get it in the
even like 153. That's fair because he's 3 goals off. He could do it because he's Alexander Ovechkin, but hat-trick's still tough.
Hurricanes versus Capitals at Capital One Arena, 190. That was next Thursday, April 10th.
Yeah.
Ticket prices start there.
It's also going to be cool because he's never scored on Sorokin either.
Ooh.
So we'll see what happens.
Another goalie he could cross off his list, maybe. You know what would have been cool is if like he was lined up to do it against the Rangers at MSG, and we got to go.
Bro, ticket prices were already out the ass expensive at MSG. Just imagine that now.
Dude, we're getting good seats too. I don't know if I told you guys. It's like
I checked on SeatGeek where 101 is, and yeah, those are good seats.
Yeah, I've never sat there before. Usually they give me a sweet Pepsi, but they're giving me behind the net this time. I'll take it.
Yeah, no, they're nice seats.
Yeah.
Especially for free. I mean, even like if the team is not great, I mean, there's still free tickets at a really good a view at MSG. So
yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, we'll take it. Yeah, man. Let's see here. I hit on everything here. I got everything. Yeah. All right, folks. That does it for us on Ice Cold Takes. I hope you guys enjoyed. Go Rangers, go Mets. I would love to see the Rangers go on a crazy run, 6-1 down the stretch. I would love to see it. I don't think it's going to happen. But I'll still be a good fan, and deep down I'll still have that hope that they make the playoffs. I'll be good. Optimism D, baby.